We have a Cowboys signing incoming as a new report reveals a sneaky good move for the Dallas Cowboys at a positional group that could use some help due to the stack up of injuries. Let's say who this player is and why this would be such a good move for Dallas right here on Cowboys Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join it with us. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're providing daily coverage of your Dallas Cowboys. Any news, information, or update that comes out, we'll have it for you. So if you want a one-stop shop for all of your Dallas Cowboys news, we've got you covered right here on Cowboys Digest. It's 100% free to subscribe. Let's talk about a positional group of interest for the Dallas Cowboys, that being the cornerback room. Now, in theory, this would be one of the strong suits of the Dallas Cowboys in this upcoming season if it weren't for injuries. You talk about DaRon Bland and the season he had 2 years ago and only playing 7 games last season. And then you look at Trevon Diggs, and kind of similar can be said 3 seasons ago before he tore his ACL. And now he's kind of been on an injury train for the past 2 seasons. They also drafted a cornerback in Trevon Jr. in the 3rd round that was projected as a first-round guy before he got injured. Well, it comes to question now, who is exactly going to be ready for the first game of the year against the Philadelphia Eagles on the opening night of the NFL season on Thursday Night Football? Well, DaRon Bland seems to be all good to go. That's step one. Trevon Diggs, on the other hand, he's still kind of battling a knee injury. Now, the goal is for him to be ready for week 1, but the question still stands, is he going to be 100%? Is he going to be ready? Is he going to be able to play the snaps that are required for him by Coach Shoddy? Like, is he going to be able to perform? Because if not, then you have to look to Trevon Jr., who is also coming off an injury, and he's rehabbing a knee injury. Is he going to be ready? Is he going to have to start on the PUP list and not make it out until week 5? We don't know these things just yet. Now, as we get closer to the preseason and to the regular season and that, we get a little bit closer to knowing what exactly the health of those 2 guys will be. But as of right now, it's a question to stand that, you look at this and it seems like it's a positional group that should be really good. However, it's not that way. And we have that from Randy Gerzai here of Dallas Cowboys SI that says, quote, "If Dallas were at full health, this position could be a strength. Unfortunately, they're heading into training camp with Trevon Diggs and Trevon Jr. both rehabbing knee injuries," end quote. And so for that reason, it's a hard thing to look at because when they are on the field together, they look great. You go to Trevon Diggs' stats, or rather DaRon Bland, I should say, and he played 7 games last season. In those 7 games, he performed pretty well. 41 tackles, he had 5 pass deflections, and it seemed as though he was kind of catching his stride later on in the season. You also look at Trevon Diggs' stats last year. Even though he played in just 11 games, 2 interceptions, 11 passes deflected, and he was kind of starting to look again more like that 2022 Trevon Diggs later on, early on in the season before he had the kind of cartilage knee injury. What's funny about this is DaRon Bland and Trevon Diggs have been talked about as a dynamic duo in terms of a cornerback positional alignment for the Dallas Cowboys. And they have played 20 games together. But I want you to sit here and take a guess. In the 20 games that DaRon Bland and Trevon Diggs have played together in their career, how many of them occurred in 2024? I'll give you a second. 1 game. They played 1 game together last year. So it's hard to look at signing somebody in the cornerback room and think it's a good idea when you know that if they stay healthy, you've got a really good cornerback room. But the problem is you just don't know what exactly is going to happen. And that's where we enter the potential free agent signing that appeared in a bargain bin free agent article on Bleacher Report. And according to Dallas Cowboys SI, it's exactly what the Dallas Cowboys defense needs for this upcoming 2025 season. Now, if you have been following the NFL, you follow it the way I do, you know that the pictures I showed you in the intro and the guy on the thumbnail is Asante Samuel Jr. He is currently a free agent after playing the past 4 seasons with the Los Angeles Chargers, and for the long time that he was there, for the first 3 years at least, he was a top-level cornerback. This past year, he had a nagging injury, and he just couldn't get on the field. In fact, he only played at the end of the year 4 games when it was all said and done. Now, in those 4 games, it was 13 total tackles and 2 pass deflections, so, again, not terrible. His coverage grade was pretty solid on the PFF scale. but it's not what a 2023 Asante Samuel season looked like, or a 2022 Asante Samuel season looked like, in which he had both of those 2 interceptions in each of them, 13 and 11 passes deflected. So, is this a good idea to sign? Well, you have to remember, he is available, and yes, he did have neck surgery in April, but if he's medically cleared, he is going to be a good cornerback, and that's kind of where we go into a little bit of more of a report here from Randy Gerzai of Dallas Cowboys SI, and he says, quote, "That's why they should turn to Asante Samuel Jr., who was one of 6 remaining bargain-bin free agents identified by Bleacher Reports' Brett Sobleski." Now, we'll go to a quote here from Brett Sobleski in just a second, but overall, I think Asante Samuel Jr. would be a very good fit for the Dallas Cowboys for what they need. Is he going to be signed for the entire year? I don't know, because as soon as you get Trevon Diggs back, it's a question mark of whether you keep him on board. Now, past that, what exactly do you keep him for? Well, if he does and comes out and perform, he has had the neck surgery. He was dealing with back injuries and all that over the past year, and he may not be to the same level that he was back in 2023, 2022. At the same time, though, why not take the risk? Because if he's medically cleared, you're not going to find many better cornerbacks on the open market besides maybe Stephon Gilmore. But again, Asante Samuel Jr. is way younger than Stephon Gilmore. And yes, he does have the recent injury, but maybe, just maybe, he can kind of have this as a one-off thing and be fine coming off into this season. That's where we go into the Brett Sobleski article from Bleacher Report saying, quote, "From an on-field perspective, the 25-year-old Samuel is a former second-round pick who has already started 47 games. His game has never been predicted on physicality or being a cornerback who consistently flies up to make big tackles. He's a pure cover corner, and he played well until that particular area during the previous 2 seasons." End quote. Asante Samuel Jr. is kind of what the Cowboys don't really have. Like Deron Bland, yes, is a cover corner, and so is Trevon Diggs, but they are ball hawk corners. That's exactly kind of what they do. Whereas Asante Samuel, he has a lot of interceptions. Like he had 2 interceptions in the 2 years that was quote unquote his best years. But he's not that ball hawk type of guy. He's a cover corner. He's not going to let you get many receptions on him, and the deep balls, he has the speed to catch up with any wide receiver in the entire NFL. The question is more towards his injury, and in that case, is he going to be healthy enough to also play week 1? Because the last thing the Dallas Cowboys need is to sign him and then for him to have a setback or to not be ready by week 1. And then you're looking at your cornerback room, and the reason you signed Asante Samuel Jr. was because Trevon Diggs and Javon Revel Jr. weren't going to be ready for week 1. And now he's not ready for week 1. That's the last case scenario of what you do not want to happen. And so for that reason, I don't know if I would make this signing. Simply put, it's too much of a risk. It's too much for me, and for that matter, I think it's too much for the Dallas Cowboys to make that risk. I would arguably say that Stephon Gilmore would be a more safer option, at least for the first couple games. But at the same time, he is a younger cornerback, a better one in my opinion, when he has been healthy, at least recently. So I ask the question to you, would you sign Asante Samuel Jr.? If you would, type S for sign in the comments or type P for pass. Let me know if you would sign him or if you would pass on this signing. I'm kind of curious what you think. Now, kind of the last thing I want to talk about here is just overall the cornerback room and what we can expect from it if it can get healthy. Or, excuse me, that's not the right one. I fully believe that Trevon Diggs will be healthy by week 3. I fully believe that Javon Revel Jr. will be ready by, at the latest, week 5. And they could both be ready week 1. That's not to say they couldn't. But for that reason, I am okay, and I think it would be a good idea to go out and sign a cornerback. Is that Asante Samuel Jr.? Maybe. Is that Stephon Gilmore? Maybe. Maybe there's also a cornerback that we could see potentially coming up. I know Elijah Clark is a safety, but there's a potential that maybe he could potentially be a cornerback level guy. There's a couple of things they have options for, and right now I sit and I look at the Cowboys and I look at their positional needs. The running back room has 4 running backs. I'm not going to say one of them is obviously an RB1, but I trust them enough that I'm not like dying to get somebody there. Like Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, and Jaden Blue can carry it. I'm fine with that. The wide receivers are great. I trust Dak. I trust our offensive line. Our defensive line, if you get Micah Parsons, would be a hell of a lot better. And on top of which, if you could look for a interior defensive lineman, I wouldn't mind that. But besides that, cornerback is the position where I'm looking at and thinking, okay, I'd like a little bit of help. Just because of the injuries in the past to both Diggs and Bland, Trevon Revel Jr., and being an ACL injury, do we know, what is going to happen to him? How healthy is he going to be when he's here? For that reason, I think when you're looking at these oddball late signings, cornerback is the position to me that I would do. I also could sit here and totally understand why the Cowboys don't do it and say come week one, they don't have the flexibility of those couple players that I just mentioned as they would like. Then they can go sign an Asante Samuel Jr. Then they can go sign a Stephon Gilmore. Now, they may be gone by that point, but I don't think there's a risk in waiting that away because the hope is that you don't need him and that, guess what? Trevon Diggs Jr., oh yeah, he's good. He'll play week one. Oh yeah, Trevon Diggs, he's good. 100% to go. We'll be good to go week one. That's the goal, but the question is, do we believe in that or should we go out and sign somebody? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day once again to join us. If you made it to the end of the video, you're a real one. And I really appreciate you kind of tuning in and love talking ball with y'all. That's just the best part of this. So for now, we'll say peace out and see you next time here on Cowboys Digest.